Ladies and gentlemen, button pushers and wrench turners, welcome to Something's Broken. I'm your host, Taylor Goodyear, and I own a TG CNC service out of Wisconsin. This is kind of a solo project that I wanted to start working on because there's a lot of podcasts out there in the manufacturing world, but there's really not many. At least I haven't seen any. I could be wrong. You could tell me if I'm wrong. I'll accept it. Whatever. There's not a lot out there that actually talk about what happens when the machines break. Who shows up? What's the issues? How did they fix it? Anything like that. And some of the things that maybe some people don't understand or don't know too much about the server side is what can happen when the machines break. And it's not just what's the issue on the machine or what caused it to break, but what is everything else that comes with it when it breaks. I'm talking loss of production, loss of chip time, loss of delivery time of the parts that are set up on the machine. So I wanted to start this to kind of talk about what I go through on a weekly basis with my company and kind of share my experiences that I've had for the last 10 years of service. I started my company, TG CNC Service, about 2 years ago. June 5th of this year, 2025, will be my 2 years. And when I started it, it was scary, pretty scary. I had no customers. I literally just left my OEM that I was with, doing service with at the time. I won't say who they are, but great company, by the way. And I started my company, and it scary at first. I drained a lot of personal funds to start it up, but I'm proud that my company didn't go into debt starting up, and neither did I personally. But it got to a point to where my funds were draining and draining and draining, and I didn't have any work bringing in any income. So it was scary, to say the least. But I had help. There are two guys that I'm pretty good friends with that have their own service companies. One in Wisconsin, one in Chicago. I won't say their names. I'll keep their privacy to themselves. But shout out to those guys. They really kept me afloat and threw me some work at the time that I was desperate for it. And they, man, I owe those guys so much, and they know it. I tell them all the time, like, whatever you need, you let me know. However I can help you, you let me know. And it's those two guys I worked with at another OEM service company, and they went off, did their own thing, and they're doing great. We're all doing great now, and it's service has been it's been stressful, really stressful. Honestly, it's been a big learning experience because when I was in OEM service, I didn't have to do sales, or I didn't have to do accounting, and I didn't need to learn tax codes, and I didn't need to learn deductions, and I didn't need to know any of that. I just needed to know where I was going, show up, do the work, fix the fucking machine, and get the hell out of there. So it's been a lot of learning, and honestly it's been fun regardless of the stressful nights and not knowing, oh man, am I going to have an income to pay my bills next month. But I think some people may not know that most customers are net 30. If you don't know what that is, that means that the customer doesn't have to pay you within 30 days. And they wait every bit of those 30 days. And sometimes, a lot of times, they go over 30 days. There's been several times I've had to reach out to customers and be like, hey, like, I did the work. It's been 45 days. What's going on? I shouldn't have to do that, but it is what it is. These are just some of the things that come with the job. And, I have a couple of customers that are net 60, and I have one customer that is net 90. And it's, it would have been really bad starting out, um, waiting for that amount of invoices rolling in and waiting that long. But it was kind of nice because my old OEM service company, um, they manufacture CNC machines, high end, 5 axis, 7 axis, and just insane machines. Great company. I love those guys. They were great to work with, great to work for. They're a German and Swiss based um, CNC manufacturer, and I worked for them for a little over, I think, 4 years, just a little bit over 4 years. If not, I was just short of 4 years. I think it was, yeah, I started in March, ended in April. So, yeah, just a little bit over 4 years with them. And it was great. It was 100% travel. I traveled all over the country for them. I was home sometimes maybe 2 to 4 days a month. Other than that, I was out on the road hitting it hard and whatnot. And it got old after a while. I will say it's when you're traveling that much and going through airports and you're in airports day after day, hour after hour. You get tired of it. And it was cool to see the country. I got to go to Germany and go to the factory over there, which was awesome. The instructor over there, him and I, he's a great guy, great friend, great instructor. So it was a good time. I did, however, get COVID when I was over there, like really bad. So that wasn't fun, but I was able to get back into the U.S. no problem when my time was up over there. So this podcast is going to transition probably several times. It's a lot of work to try to figure out how to make this all work. My brother is a very good IT guy. So he's been helping me get all this set up and trying to tweak everything in. So I apologize if, you know, maybe my screen jumps or seems fuzzy or something like that. Trust me, we're working on it, trying to figure it all out, trying to deliver the best performance out of what I have. And if I need to upgrade, I will upgrade. But so far, everything seems okay for now. So bear with me. Um, Moving forward into the podcast, I'm also going to have a question and answer segment, I guess. And during that segment, there'll be an email that I'll have posted, and you can send me an email. Don't send me no stupid shit, okay? I don't want to go through no stupid shit. Try to keep it machine related, maintenance related, service related, whatever. If you're telling me, about, you know, Joe Biden slipped on the ice, I really don't give a shit. So just be courteous, please. I beg of you. Now, if you got a funny fucking joke, send that too. But we'll open that up probably within the next couple of weeks or so. This episode specific is just going to be about how I got started, how long I've been in the industry, and whatnot. So we're going to go through that. And at the end of every segment, it's I want to do something that's not related to CNC machines or service or anything like that. And it's just going to be a little motivational segment. Sometimes we go through some hard times in life, and, things get stressful and we don't know what's ever going to happen. Maybe sometimes we hit rock bottom. Well, I just kind of want to just say some motivational stuff at the end. Just if you're watching this and I appreciate it if you are, and just you know, kind of pick somebody up if they're watching and listening. It's I'm a big motivational guy. Like I try to bring people up when I see them down. I try to say some positive things if I know they're going through a rough time. I watch a lot of motivational YouTube videos and whatnot. So um, just something a little different, but I like the aspect of that. So we'll do that at the end of every episode. These will be once a week, so we'll go through Monday through Friday what we're working on, and go through the issues, and I'll try to explain as best as possible what I found, how I troubleshot, and what the status of the machine is currently at the end of the week. So we'll try to figure out the most logical way to deliver that, and hopefully I explain everything the best. Now guys, I am not perfect. I am not the greatest service guy. I by far uh, there's a quote that my uncle told me a long time ago when I was a machinist, and he was teaching me. He was like, I could be doing this for the next 30 years, and I'll only know a fraction of what I need to know. And that is true in every aspect of service. I could be doing service for the next 30 years, and I'll still only know a fraction of what I need to know. And what I like to tell people is, you know, if I try to sit here and remember everything that I've done, there's no way. Everything that I've done right, there's no way I can remember all that. What's easier for me to remember are all the things of what not to do. And that's a very short list to remember. So if you know in service of what not to do, I would say maybe 7 out of 10 times you'll figure out the problem. You'll figure it out, and you'll get to where you need to get to logically when you're servicing a machine, or doing maintenance on a machine. So where I started as a machine operator. Yes, a button pusher. Straight out of the gates, about 3 months after I graduated high school, I started as a machine operator at a local manufacturing place here in Wisconsin. And I honestly, I don't remember how long I was there for, but it started transitioning into, okay, I want to learn how to set up. I started asking the supervisor, teach me how to set up, teach me how to, teach me G&M code a little bit, teach me offsets and shit like that. It wasn't the best environment to learn in. I will say that the supervisor wasn't really a teacher per se, so I kind of took it upon myself to start looking into CNC college classes. My local college had a CNC technician course, and I looked into that, got signed up for that about, I'd say about 6 or 7 months after I graduated high school. I signed up for the fall classes, and when those started, I unfortunately got fired from that job for attendance. Now, at the time, I started to hate going there because it just became the same thing over and over and over. Now, for all of you machinists, all of you machine operators, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You grab a part, you put it in the machine, you shut the fucking doors, you hit the goddamn button, and then you open the doors, you take the part out, and you put the next one in. And when you're doing that to 8 to 12 hours a day, it drives me fucking insane. So I started to hate going there. And eventually I missed a Saturday, mandatory Saturday, and they fired me. But I didn't back out of college. So I was still set up for college, still getting ready to go to college. Um, so I started college for the CNC technician program. And when I started college for that, I got a new job as a machine operator at another place, a much smaller shop. They were more like a job shop more than anything. They did have some production parts, and that's where I came in. I ran most of the production parts and not the one off parts or anything like that. Uh, that place, my uncle was basically one of the master machinists there. So I started learning with him. I would go to college during the night, and then I would work with him at the shop during the day, running production. And he actually is the reason why I started to learn G&M code before I even learned it in college. He was teaching me how to set up machines. He was teaching me offsets. He was teaching me all kinds of stuff. I was working on bridge ports with FANUC controls, and was also working on fryers with the old Analam controls, old school conversational controls. Those were pretty nice to work with, honestly. They weren't that bad. So I got to get a lot of hands on with somebody that I was close with. So learning was really good for me. It stuck with me. I have ADD really bad. So my attention was just like all over the fucking place. And it was my uncle made it a lot clearer for me to learn, and I love that guy. I love that guy till the day I die, man. If it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would have excelled into machining as much as I did. College was a little confusing when I started. It was the instructors just weren't that great with at hands-on teaching. They kind of just threw a book at you and was just like, here, kind of figure it out. And when you're new and you don't know nothing about it, it's kind of hard to know where to start. And for some of us that don't learn by reading, we need to see it. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like me. I actually need to see it to kind of understand where to start, and then I can always resort back to the book if I have a couple of questions here and there, or I ask the instructor. So, fast forward through that, I ended up getting fired from that job as well. There's a silver lining to all of this at the end, I promise. So I got fired from that, and I think if I remember correctly, I think I might have been on my phone or something like that. And that's what got me fired. I was a kid at the time. I was like 19, 20, whatever. I didn't really give a shit at the time. I was just kind of living life after graduating high school. So, no excuses. No excuses. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that can relate to that. So, fast forward, I'm into my second semester of college, and I pick up a new job. And this one is where I really got to learn how to set up, write. I started writing G&M codes. The supervisor there was really good at teaching and kind of throwing me to the wolves and like, here, figure it out, throw me a print, figure it out, go write it. Ran a Haas VF3. They had a Mori MV40 in there. They had a SH50 in there. So riding on the FANUC controls was pretty nice, and obviously Haas makes it pretty nice as well too. So I did a lot there, setting up, learning how to write G&M code, writing full programs, and then I got into robotic welding there as well because the guy that was there at the time ended up leaving, and they asked me if I wanted to learn. I was like, hell yeah, throw me into that shit. I'll learn it. So I learned how to. It was an old robot. I can't really remember what the robot was, but it was point to point programming for it, and it was kind of a piece of shit. But I figured it out. I ran a lot of production through it successfully and whatnot. As far as I know, we didn't have any welds fail in the field. And then I was also manual welding, hand welding at the time too. Broaching, I learned how to set up broaching. I made a lot of the fixtures for the broaching and stuff like that. So um, that job I ended up getting fired from. This pattern breaks, I fucking swear, dude. Got fired from that one. Um, I don't, I can't really remember in detail why I got fired. I think maybe I said the wrong thing to the wrong person, and yeah, I got canned from there. But that's okay. So I took a year off from college. I stepped away from it. I was going through a pretty rough time financially. The person I was with at the time was also going to college, so we were trying to juggle living on our own and whatnot. And I had to work more in order to support us, and I just needed to step away from college for a year. So I did that, and when I did that, there were some generals that I needed to finish in order to graduate, and that's kind of what I had to finish, and I didn't really finish it at the time. So I took that year off. Now, when I got fired from that machining job, I went on and got another machine operating job or machinist job. I wouldn't really classify machinist technically yet. Maybe a little bit. I was doing some setups. I was doing a little bit of programming. They had a desk programmer, I guess if you want to call it. So he wrote the programs for 20 machines out there, and then every machine had like a setup guy. So I guess you could call it a setup operator. Wasn't really too much a machinist, uh, writing programs and stuff like that. So that was a primarily Mazak shop, and I got to learn writing G&M codes on the Mazer Troll and learning Mazer Troll conversational itself, which was really nice. I thought it was pretty nice, pretty user friendly. I wasn't really used to that kind of conversational control, so it was nice to learn all that. Um, I got back into college after I was there for a year and took that year off. I got back into college, finished my generals. There was a machine that broke down at this place that I was at with the Mazaks, and we called maintenance over, one guy throughout the entire shop, and he comes over. And before he came over, I talked to the supervisor. I was like, "Hey man, my machine's down. I think I might know what's going on with it. Do you mind if I just kind of take a look at it?" And he looks at me and says, "No, you are not qualified to do that." It's like, okay, that's fair. I accept that. So the maintenance guy comes over, and maintenance guy looks at me and he's like, "How do I move this machine?" I kind of looked at him. I was like, "What do you mean move the machine? Like jog the machine?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't know how to do that." I was like, "Wait. So you're coming over here because you're a qualified maintenance guy, but you don't know how to jog the machine?" Man, that's kind of fucked up in my eyes. But I got turned down. Okay, that's fine. We figured it out. I, as I'm driving home that day, I was like, you know what? I want to work on these things. I want to fix these things, and I don't want anybody to ever tell me that I'm not qualified to do it. So I signed up for industrial mechanics college courses at my same college, and I ended up going through that and graduating through that. And on top of that, I graduated from the CNC technician program as well. So I graduated in 2017 with both of my diplomas in CNC technician and industrial maintenance mechanics, whatever. I don't know what exactly they called it for sure. It's on my diploma up there. Industrial mechanic. Okay, so that was close. Fast forward, that job that I was at in Mazak shop, I got fired from. Actually, no, I did get fired from that. Okay, all right. This is so long ago. It. I can't really remember it all. That one I didn't get fired from. That one I put in my 2 weeks at, and I applied for a maintenance technician program. This was the first maintenance position that I would have ever got into. And I knew a guy at this place, and he was kind of able to get my foot in the door a little bit. And I went through interview process, everything. They made me an offer. I was like, hell yeah, I'm coming on. Now the stipulation was I would work for a year and then I would go on third shift after that. And boy, did that not turn out very well for me. Um, I started and I went through the year and it was great on first shift. Learned a lot, and then I got booted to third shift and I made it 6 months. I couldn't do third shift. I was struggling so hard. It was bad. And at this time, I think there were still a couple of general classes that I was finishing. This was obviously before 2017 when I did graduate, but during that time, I still had a couple of general classes that I was taking for my CNC technician program. So I would go to school and then try. I would go to work on third shift, and then get off, drive an hour to college, go to college for. I think I was there for 3 hours total. I think it was two different classes, 3 hours total, and then try to go home, sleep, wake up, and try to do it all over again. And it fucking sucked. It sucked. I struggled and did not really make it. But there's a good side to that. So I got not really an opportunity, but I found an opportunity that I really wanted. And when I first started all of this journey, I guess my ultimate goal was to be service, like the guy that they call in to fix it. When I transitioned from being a machinist into maintenance and wanted to actually work on them, my ultimate goal was to be service. I wanted to be the guy to travel to customer and drive to customer, fly, whatever, and come in and be the guy to fix the machine. That was my ultimate goal. So I found a potential opportunity and I applied to it. Now, the shop that I was at had a bunch of these OEM machines, a bunch. So I had already been working on them before I even knew about applying for this position. So they gave me an ultimatum. They told me they do not solicit from their customers, which very respectful. That I understand. They said you have an ultimatum. It's like you can quit and take a 50-50 chance on the interview, not guaranteed we're going to make you an offer or even hire you, or you get a written consent from your current employer saying that it's okay for us to move forward with an interview process with you. I was like, oh, fuck, man. Really? And I've never been in that situation, so I didn't really know what to do. So I go to the supervisor. Supervisor's like, you're going to have to take this up the chain. Like, I can't, this isn't a decision that I can make. So I take it up the chain, and the chain denied me for the written consent. I was like, okay. So I go back to my toolbox. I'm sitting there. I was like, am I really going to let this company hold me back from achieving what I really want to do in my life? My ultimate goal is right there. They're ready to at least interview me. And I'm going to let this company that I'm not liking working third shift at hold me back. So I did a very bold, brave, not brave, but bold, maybe stupid decision. And I packed my toolbox and I left. I quit that night. And I let them know, hey, I quit. I don't work for them anymore. I had an interview, I think within a week, and they made me an offer before I even got home. And the rest is kind of history with that. I worked for that OEM customer or OEM manufacturer for about 4 years, and I had transferred from the Chicago area up to Wisconsin and Minnesota, so I was covering Wisconsin, Minnesota, uh, and during that time, an opportunity came across. I wasn't even looking. I was very happy where I was at. The guys I was working for were great to work for. Customers were awesome. Machines were great to work on. But I had a next goal. Even though I reached service and I was like, all right, this is my ultimate goal. I don't know what else is left. I was regional travel, and I always wanted to be national travel, if not international travel. So that was always in the back of my mind. Like, yeah, man, I want to fly to customers instead of driving. And an opportunity came across. A recruiter reached out to me and asked me if I knew anybody that would be interested in a service job. And I was like, well, send me the info. And, I looked at it. It was like 75% to 100% travel. I was like, well, fuck. Let me take a look at that. Send me the info. And like I said, I was happy. I wasn't even actively looking for another job. I was happy where I was at. So send me the info. And I was like, you know what? Sign me up for an interview. Let's do it. So they wasted no time. They flew me out to Cincinnati. I literally flew in, had the interview, great interview. The service court manager, one of probably the best service manager I've ever worked for to this day. Um, awesome guy, and I still work with him to this day because they subcontract me. And flew in. We had lunch. We interviewed for maybe an hour. Didn't really talk about work. We kind of just bullshitted and we clicked, and uh, the the rest is kind of history on that. They made me an offer before the plane even landed, and I let the current OEM that I was with know that I was leaving. It wasn't really that great of a thing. Uh, them knowing that I was leaving, and I didn't really tell them. Shame on me. I know I'm a fucking asshole, but sometimes you have to make decisions and you don't have the time to sit and think about it. You kind of just act on it. Um, and that's kind of how I am when it comes to those things. When there's things that I want to progress in, I really don't waste any time when there's an opportunity for me to progress. So I think it was 2 weeks. I did go through with the 2 weeks notice, and I transitioned over and I started flying to customers with Utah, Seattle, San Diego, Boston, Michigan, Minnesota, Texas. I love Texas. I met some great people out on the road, and I did that for about 4 years, and I still work with that company. They wanted to work with me when I told them that I was leaving and starting my own gig. They asked me if they could still subcontract me. I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I still work with those guys to this day. Great company, great people, and I owe those guys a lot. They helped me out when I left. They threw me a big job right when I left, and that kept me afloat for a little bit. And they didn't have to do that. They could have just watched me sink and asked me, "Hey, you coming back yet, or what?" So they didn't have to do that, but they did, and I owe that company a lot. And whenever they call, I do not let it go to voicemail. I pick up every single time, and I try to make my schedule work for them as best as possible. They scratch my back, and I want to scratch their back as much as possible. Um, so that leads to me starting my company. Now I'm at that timeline. So I had a job at a customer in Minnesota for the previous OEM that I used to work for before I started my company. And I was up there doing a big PM job. It was a 2 week long PM job on a big horizontal mill. And the customer up there kind of mentioned to me, hey, like, we got this machine. We've been waiting for service. Completely different OEM machine. And I just happened to ask, I was like, well, what's the machine? I might be able to help you guys. Like, we've been waiting for service for over 2 months and we still can't get anybody in there. I was like, holy shit. Okay, tell me what's going on. I might be able to help you guys. So they told me the machine. And I was like, damn, that's wild, because I actually used to work for them in service. So I actually can help you guys. And this was a big customer. So things didn't really go through the chain very well, I guess. Things were a little sketchy because I didn't have, liability insurance. I wasn't an LLC or anything like that, and they would have to pay me under the table, or pay me, but it would not be able to pay me under the table. Like they would have to pay me legit, and I didn't have any of that set up. So I go take a look at the machine, and I basically figure out like, oh yeah, this is what needs to happen. And they're like, okay. And they asked me like, are you an LLC? Do you have liability insurance, anything like that? I was like, no, I don't, but I can fix it for you if you guys want. If you're not tired of waiting. And they're like, well, we'll sit on that for a little bit. And we'll let you know. I was like, okay. So I started an LLC. Driving home from that customer, it was a 5 hour drive. And during that entire 5 hour drive, I was like, why don't I just do my own thing? Like, I'm, I'm very confident that I can do this. And by the time I got home, I had already started the process of starting an LLC, got the LLC put together, and that customer ended up calling me back to fix that machine. And I got in there, was able to fix what they had a problem with, and now anytime they have a problem on those specific OEMs, they call me. And that job really, I owe a lot to that customer and that job, because if I didn't go through that, I don't think I would have started my company, or at least had the balls to start my own company. I think I had to experience that to kind of kick me in the head and be like, dude, just go start your own shit and see if you make it. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You fail, okay? If you fail, you know how many OEMs are looking for service out there? You'll easily have another job. Doesn't mean you're going to be good at it, but somebody will take you in if you have to. And that was my mentality. So, started my company. I left that OEM June 5th of 2023. And here I am almost 2 years later, and it's been a fucking roller coaster, man. Roller coaster. Not so much in a bad way. I This may sound a little fucked up, but I haven't really experienced anything bad yet. And I'm gonna knock on all the wood that I can, because you can only be comfortable for so long before something uncomfortable has to happen. Uh, that's just my belief, and I think that's how life usually tends to go. Um, I haven't hit that yet. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I just don't know what it's going to be, but I'm trying to prepare for any kind of bad things that happen. Um, my company now is at a ceiling where I make a decision to grow. And that decision is stuck between several other different decisions that are going to determine whether I grow and not grow so much that I can't keep up and I go backwards. So there's a transition point right now that I'm in. I do have a contractor that works for me. I get him 2 days a week, but we are trying to figure out when is the most logical time to bring him on full time. He's learning very good. He's transitioning pretty well. He doesn't have a whole lot of CNC experience, but he's been in maintenance and wiring and automated systems and safety equipment and stuff for a long time. So he's got the aptitude. I just need to keep training him. And there's honestly been a lot of jobs that I've been able to send him on for him to be able to, you know, make all of us money basically, because if he goes on training, can't really make money off of training. That's an investment that's made on my end through my company, and which is we've got that all figured out. We came to a complete agreement on how that's all going to work, and it's working out great. Honestly, it's a childhood friend basically that I grew up with. Great dude. I mean, dude, we have a blast out at the customer. We have a blast, and we get shit fixed, and customers like us, and they call us back in consistently, and things are going really good, too good. So I'm a little weary. I'm a little weary. I'm staying on my toes because, like I said, things can only go good for so long before something bad has to happen. So that might just be my negative thinking, and I apologize. Maybe I shouldn't think like that, but I think it's healthy to think like that because then you're not ever caught off guard when something bad does happen. Um, so that is just a rundown of my history of me. I know that was fucking boring. Probably none of you cared, and that's okay. But we had to start somewhere. This is the start of it. We're gonna start getting into the good shit into the next episode, and I'm gonna do my best to deliver the best that I can. And I'm not fucking perfect, and I don't got the answer for everything, but I think we're gonna find some shit that is cool, and we can fix it. So please follow along as best as you guys can, and I hope that can maybe talk about some issues that some of you guys are having out in the field. And if you decide to watch this and want to reach out to me and bounce some ideas off of me. And one thing I do want to put out there is if I have a problem, I'm going to talk about it here. And if I can't figure out that problem, if any of you know the answer to the problem, definitely hit me up. And if you hit me up and your suggestion works, I'm going to send you some fucking merch. So, not that you want it, not that you need it, but I'm still going to fucking send it to you because that's cool. That's cool to do. I like giving back however I can. So, all right. End of the segment. Motivational time. I don't know if it's a quote or just some words, whatever. I don't know what the fuck you want to call it, but where I heard it from was The Rock. And it's very short, very simple. And it's one day or day one. And I took that as, okay, if you are looking to transition into something or want to start something, whether it's a job opportunity, college, going to the gym, or bettering yourself in any kind of opportunity, whatever it is, but you just don't know when or how to start, is it going to be one day I'm going to start it? Or is it I start day one? This is it. So think about that. If you have an opportunity, take it. Because there's a lot of times that I got into potential opportunities and I did not hesitate. I took them. And if at any time that was I afraid? Fuck yeah, I was afraid. I was always scared. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was just going to lose it all and, not be able to know how I'm going to pay the bills or anything like that. Of course. But every opportunity that I took, I progressed and I made it happen. And if I didn't take those opportunities, there's no way that I could be where I'm at, starting my own company, doing my own thing, being successful, and just doing what I love to do. If I didn't take those opportunities, none of this would have happened. So don't drag your fucking feet. You pick them goddamn things up and you start moving. You start moving towards what you want to be, what you want to build, and where you want to be at 5, 10, 15 years down the road. You start moving. And God forbid you fail or you don't make it, okay, that's fine. That happens. We have to experience failure. It's not everything is peaches, but that failure is going to define you as a person. And when you get defined by failure, success becomes more frequent, I feel like. Because I feel like for every 10 successes, you're going to hit one failure. Or the algorithm could be different. It could be 5 successes, one failure, or 2 successes, one failure. But every time that you fail is a learning opportunity. And once you take that learning opportunity and digress and take it in and pick it apart in your brain and find everything in it, that makes you a better person. It makes you a better human being. And it prepares you for anything else that's going to come that might try to take you out. And you're going to be prepared. So, thank you guys for checking out my podcast. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of changes and whatnot. We're this we're working on it, so bear with me. Um, this is going to be fun. I'm going to really enjoy doing this and talking to everybody and meeting new people. Um, Thank you for following along. This is Something's Broken, and I am Taylor Goodyear, and I own TG CNC Service. And I will see you guys in a week. We'll see you guys.